Hello, here we are again with Muki Tenenbaum, discussing his disillusionist philosophy, and in particular in this series of videos, his theory of misalgia, of suffering as a main drive behind human behavior. In a previous video, you mentioned a strange equation. You used the example of a vaccine as an instance in which I would willingly take pain from the pinprick in order to avoid future suffering. This special relationship with suffering, when we welcome it, has a place in your system, and I would like you now for us to expand on that matter.
Well, I call this the sacrifice matrix, and I will go explain. But before that, I want to clarify one of the terms you use in your question for the benefit of some of our viewers. Misalgia means running away from suffering in Latin. It's mis, running away from, algia, pain, suffering. So misalgia, and my theory, the misalgic theory, says that all what we do in our lives, the main drive in our lives, is running away from suffering. It's not going somewhere. It's coming from. It's fleeing. And society is on a stampede, an organized one, albeit, but a stampede. But going to the matrix of the sacrifice of the sacrifice matrix, or the matrix of sacrifice, the way you want to say it, basically is this: we are ready to take a pain, something that we see as suffering, to avoid a bigger one. And this is the most common strategy we use. And I am not claiming that it's a successful one. I am claiming that this is very common to us. Now, this is even in the Bible, yes? So sacrificing was a way of avoiding certain pains. Of course, that didn't work. If you killed your murder your son in the altar of Baal to stay the drought, I have bad news for you. You just lost your son, and you're also going to get a drought anyway. Yes, it may rain, but not because of that. And it took some time until people and civilizations start trying to get closer, but it's always the same. It's a relation of cause and effect. If I do this, this will not happen, okay? Or it will be less, much less. But this option is not just a tool. This is something I will have to sacrifice. So people who, for example, in religion is very common, people who fast in Ramadan or in Yom Kippur, they are sacrificing, they're suffering because they are not eating to get in front of the eyes of God, on the good side of him. Not, he could be quite mean, their God. So sacrifices are normally they have to be steep, but it's like a price we're giving to it. Okay, it's like it has a certain value. So this is very common also to think that if you do something, that sacrifice will be that may change certain things. And in the vaccine case, it's exactly that. In fact, I don't think we suffer when we get that job, okay? Because we already know that we're using it for relief for another one. So it's not really suffering, it's just pain. Yes, suffering and pain, as I say, it's different things, but in this case, it's very common. So this is the way we deal with certain, and it's normally have to do with avoidance. Yes, it's an avoidance strategy. Remember, there are three ways to deal with it's avoidance, relief, and distraction, and this one is definitely it's an avoidance intention.
Mm-hmm. What about this matrix of sacrifices and the current pandemic of COVID-19? What's in the matter now?
First of all, the state told us exactly that. If you stay at home, you will not suffer afterwards. We are all of us doing it as part of that as an avoidance of the pain, in any case, it's avoidance of pain. Either the pain of being sick or getting people sick or seeing people sick or people dying. And also those who don't care about the other people or it's not in their mind, you go to prison, you get a fine if you are in the street. So staying at home is an avoidance of the other kind of suffering. That means the state being punishing you for not following those rules. So those two are today the ones that keep us at home, okay, and keeps us with the face mask and with some of them with certain gear, and we keep the 2 meters distance, 1.5 meters, depending on you ask, 1 meter. Other countries, but basically it's all that. It's all sacrifice. And the terrible thing about it is that since this pandemic will end up in a big economic crisis, and here I'm not in the middle of the crisis. I'm sitting now in the middle of the before the pandemic ends. But once the pandemic is tamed, because it will not end, it will be tamed. Once it is tamed, there's going to be an economic collapse. But we're not dealing with that now. There is no sacrifice related to that. Maybe work harder, but that's going to happen only afterwards, not now. Now we are there.
Perfect. I think we covered it. Thank you very much. We'll keep on in other videos.
If you enjoyed the video, please like it, comment and subscribe.